Yeah, so for me, I like to do what I call audition a goal. I think a lot of goals fail because people try to commit to something for a year they've never done for a day. That's like marrying somebody you just met at speed dating. But if you had a goal that was at least a month worth of time, I would say, hey, let's do a 1 month audition. Like, what if we just tried this thing for 15 minutes a day for 25 of the next 30 days?
That's Jon Acuff. He's been named one of Inc.'s top 100 leadership speakers and has inspired hundreds of thousands of people to overcome overthinking and finish what matters most. His new book, Procrastination Proof, Never Get Stuck Again, shares what it really takes to beat procrastination so you can achieve the goals that you've been stalling on. So you'll learn 1, why discipline and willpower are not enough to solve procrastination. 2, how to make tomorrow easy today with simple preparation. And 3, how to go from stuck to unstuck in 4 steps. And if you want a quick summary write-up of the actionable wisdom that Jon shared, you can mosey on over to awesomeatyourjob.com to get the free Gold Nugget email newsletter. I'm Pete Mockaitis. This is How to Be Awesome at Your Job. And now, here's Jon. Jon, welcome back.
Good to see you again, Pete.
Well, I'm excited to talk about procrastination. You got a whole book about this. Tell us, what do you know or have discovered about procrastination that's new and fresh and surprising and interesting that we should know?
Well, I think the really interesting thing to me is that it's not necessarily a problem. People use it as a solution. It's just not a good solution. Meaning, if they don't want to tell their mom they're not coming home for Thanksgiving, procrastination goes, no problem. We don't have to do that for like 7 months. We can wait until the last second. Or I'm afraid of getting negative reviews of my book. Procrastination says, no problem. I'll solve that. You'll never get a negative review. I mean, you won't get to write a book, but you'll never get that. So it's not a laziness problem, which is why so many of the willpower discipline things we do don't ultimately work. It's really more of a figuring out how to give yourself permission to do those things that you really want to do or really need to do.
Permission to do the things you really want to do or need to do. I'm also curious about the things we don't want to do. I guess we need to do them, but we don't want to do them. I think that's where it gets me, is it's not so much...
Like what? What do you procrastinate on?
Oh, I'm thinking, well, I think there's tax things, but it's a joke. Every year my accountant's like, yeah, we're deferring, right? Yeah, didn't need to ask.
Yeah, that's funny.
So yeah, there's plenty of things in terms of, it would be good to have, I think that's for me, it's like, it'd be nice to have the result of that thing, but doing the work seems exhausting and overwhelming, and I just don't want it right now.
Yeah, I think that's 100% fair. I love that you admitted having the result would be great. I think a lot of people won't admit, I'd really just like to have done the thing, but I don't want to do all this stuff. Like, for me, entitlement is when I go, I wish my LinkedIn profile and I had a better LinkedIn presence. And you're like, yeah, you haven't used LinkedIn for like 5 years. I'm like, yeah, it's really suffering somehow with my complete lack of effort. And to me, that's entitlement, is when I go, I want blank, but I haven't done any of the work. I just think as far as doing stuff you need to do but don't want to do, it's about selling yourself into doing it. Like the book, one of the ideas is like, you're the greatest Pete salesman in the world because before every decision you've ever made, whether it was good or bad, first you sold yourself into it. So I think a lot of goals comes down to your ability to sell yourself into doing something you want to do or need to do, but you don't feel like doing.
Well, we're going to need to talk about that at length, but I want to zoom out a smidge and get the big picture. What's your overall message about procrastination and the latest insights from your in-depth research here?
Yeah, so the overall is there's 4 permissions you need. And if you do these permissions in this order, it's almost impossible to not be successful. And I want to say very clearly, I couldn't have written this book as book 2. If at 36, Jon Acuff wrote a book called Procrastination Proof, Never Get Stuck, I'm an arrogant guesser. I'm going, maybe, I don't know. If I've written one book before, clearly I'm great at not procrastinating. But by book 11 at 50, I'm like, yeah, for someone as distracted as I am, for somebody who has such a hard time focusing, to have written 11 books, I figured out how to kind of do some difficult things that maybe you shouldn't put off. So the ultimate idea behind the book is permission. And the 4 types of permission are permission to dream, permission to plan, do, and review. So those 4 actions, dream, plan, do, review. And if you do those in that order consistently, everything gets really easy and often really fun.
Okay. Well, yeah, I want to hear about these permissions. And can you tell us a bit about the research process by which you landed there? So you did some substantial surveying, right? And talking to folks and identifying some real themes and patterns that appeared at high frequency.
Well, the benefit to my job, Pete, is that the way I write a book is I find a problem in my own life and I figure out if there's a solution for it. I spent a few years doing that. And then I ask, do other people have it? And if a lot of other people have it, then I go research to figure out, okay, how does it apply to other people, not just me? It's not a helpful book if it's essentially how Jon Acuff beat Jon Acuff's procrastination. That's not a good book. That's a manual for me. So what happened with this book, I worked with this PhD named Mike Peasley. He's a professor at MTSU. And so it started with, we did a study on how many people think they're living up to their full potential, meaning there's something they really want, but they're not doing it. And we asked 3,000 people and 96% of them said they were not living up to their full potential. So then I go, okay, there's this huge audience. And then the research kind of goes from there into testing it in a community online, testing it with real live audiences. Like it's one thing to have an idea in this office. It's another thing to take it to a Fortune 500 company and go, hey, here's how this permission works. And you can tell instantly, oh no, that's not their world at all. Or, oh no, the permission to dream is not helping the cattle ranchers, or permission to plan is not helping the engineers. So a lot of what I do is then go test it on the road. And then eventually it ends up in a book. So it's a longer process than my other books used to be, but I think it turns out a better product.
Okay. So then could you speak to us about these permissions?
They're really, really simple. I mean, the first one, permission to dream, you have to have a reason to change. No one ever changes just because. I've helped 1 million people with their goals. I still haven't met somebody that said, I woke up today and decided to have grit. I just woke up today and decided to sacrifice. No one willingly leaves their comfort zone, and they shouldn't. It's comfortable. The only reason people leave their comfort zones is there's something outside it worth being uncomfortable for. And it's usually one of two things, desire or disappointment. Desire, meaning they bumped into something they really want. Disappointment, they woke up at 42 and their career wasn't where they wanted it to be. They lost their job to AI and they don't have much of a choice. The disappointment finally got loud enough to go, I got to change some stuff or this isn't going to work. So that's the dream. You got to have a sense of why you want to do something and what you want to do before you even move it into planning. And planning is you answer the question, how will I do it? Doing is, are you doing it? And review is, did it work? Are we headed in the direction we want to go?
Okay. Well, now let's talk about the word permission in terms of it's just me. I don't have to appeal to some authority, ask the principal or a government official for the permission, the access to do any of these things. So can you unpack this word here?
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. Somebody the other day told me they had a weight loss goal, but if they lost weight, they'd be breaking family norms. Because in their family they grew up in, their family of origin, food was comfort. Food was security. Food was family. Food was tradition. Big Southern family, like you had big Southern plates of food. And to be health conscious felt like divorcing the family you were from. And so he needed permission to go, no, I have permission to love my parents where they are, but I don't have to repeat my childhood. I get to lose weight. I have permission to have a healthy lifestyle. I have permission to care about what I eat and how I look and how I exercise. So a lot of times, even if you're an individual, that doesn't mean you're free of kind of hangups that are getting in the way. So a lot of times it is that sense of like, what are some of the broken soundtracks I believe? Take money, for instance. Money is the last taboo we have in our country. Like I know men that'll tell me the worst things they're dealing with. But if you go, hey, what's the financial number you're thinking about retiring with? Whoa. No, we don't talk about that. That's super sensitive. And some of them have hangups about money because they grew up in a family where money was considered evil or must be nice or they're rich, we're not. And if you get to a certain level of success, you therefore become greedy. So they need a permission to go, no, I have permission to do. I have permission to go as hard as I want at this business, on this job. So there's so many different areas where the lack of permission holds you back.
I hear that. And talking about money, I guess I'm thinking in terms of, you hear so much, at least I do, in terms of scams and scandals and swindles and crypto rug pulls and extractive private equity yuckiness that feels gross to me. such that I think I'm vibing with what you're saying is I do feel a little bit of resistance internally in terms of really going after some money-making opportunities because like, you know what, I'm doing fine and I don't want to be like those mean private equity dudes.
I don't want to step on necks. The only way to get ahead is you have to take advantage of people. Or the one that I saw somebody ask the other day, I was like, why is it binary where I can either have a really great business or I can be a great dad? Why does our culture present it as like, because I've had friends and I'll go, I think you should really start that business. And they go, I don't want to like forget my kids' names. I'll never see them. And they, as if there's only two options, not pursue your dream or get a divorce and not attend your daughter's first communion. And it's like, whoa, there's a lot of options. It's just, you've made it very binary.
Okay. So how do we grant ourselves or acquire this permission if we're feeling some of this conflictedness?
Well, part of it is identifying it. Some of it's just labeling it. Like there's a really great exercise that we talk about a lot where it's like you write down a goal and then you write down your reaction to the goal. So you write down, okay, I want to retire with $5 million. And you write down like, oh, that would be impossible. Or, oh, I don't have enough time for that. Or, oh, I've already made too many bad decisions. Or, oh, somebody who has that amount of money is always like this. And you start to identify, oh, these things are going to hold me back. Like most of the things we wrestle with in life are mindset issues. They're not physical problems. Where we live, like at least in the Western world, I never have to fear a tiger. I never leave my house and I'm like, just, hey, be careful. There's a lot of physical predators out there. It's only things like procrastination, imposter syndrome, inner critic, overthinking, perfectionism. And so a lot of times it's identifying those things so that you can actually start to work with them. That's a great first step to go, oh, this is holding me back. I'm overreacting in this situation because I have something that's holding me back. Let me identify that so I can actually deal with it.
Okay, well, let's talk about that weight and big Southern cooking plates situation. Let's say someone's identified that. Okay, I would like to be slimmer, but that feels hard. That feels risky because of these beliefs, these associations, this history. What do I do with that?
Well, I mean, I guess it would depend on like if it's an event you're talking about, meaning I'm trying to be in shape and I'm going home for Thanksgiving or I'm going home for Christmas. And I know that there's going to be a lot of food and a lot of food discussion, like having a game plan and going, okay, what do I want to do with that? My favorite definition of discipline, which I put in the book, is make tomorrow easy today. What can I do today that makes tomorrow easy? That's constantly how I'm thinking. What can night me do to hook up morning me? What can Monday me do to hook up Friday me? So in a situation like that, if somebody said to me, okay, I'm trying to break these family norms, I'd go, okay, well, is it like related to a specific thing? And if it was, then we'd come up with a plan for that thing. If it was related to the decisions you were making of like, oh man, every time I feel stressed, I do this and I know it's a short-term solution. Well, let's change that. Let's change the rhythm of that. Let's find a different way to deal with stress than that. Like if you know that's where you tend to go, you have permission to make different choices. And then maybe it'd be, let's get some community. So now you have a communal sense of it. Like for me, I worked out alone a long time and I joined a community called F3 where it's a free men's workout in the morning. And I love it. And that changed my approach to working out. Like that gave me new norms. Now I'm with a bunch of other dudes at 5:30 in the morning. That's a new norm for me. What's fun is if you do this long enough, not doing it becomes weird. Meaning when you first work out, when you first write, when you first build a business, whatever, it's hard and it's uncomfortable. But then you get into such a rhythm that if you miss a week or two, you're like, oh, this isn't right. There's this really sweet spot where the good habits, when you miss them, become weird and it flip-flops.
Yeah, I totally feel that experientially. And I think about it almost like a dirt road. When you got the groove established, it's easier to be in the groove than out of the groove. Like today, I had an odd early meeting and I actually set multiple alarms because it deviated from my regular schedule so often. And so I dropped the kids off and I knew I got to get right to the office for my early meeting. And mindlessly, I'm driving to the church because that's usually what I do is I hang out in the chapel for some prayer, post kid drop off. And I was like, wait, no, not today. That's not, we do that almost every day, but today I have an early meeting. So I got to get to the office right away. It's so funny how the autopilot move is just, I turn here toward the church. And I think that is the case with, well, almost everything in terms of, I'm working out in the morning, so that's what I do. And then it's like, oh, no, today's a different day. We don't do that. And so it really tracks that, like the first one or two or three times, it's like a force of will, effortful, intense. And then it's easier and easier. And I guess different people put different numbers on it. But Jon, if I may, when do you think the groove has more momentum than the new groove has more?
Yeah, I love if you Google how long does it take to start a new habit, there were 9 million answers. And it's like 30 days, 90 days. I mean, for me, I think it at least takes a season, meaning like it takes a fall, it takes a summer, it takes for me, 3 to 4 months chunk of time of like now F3 for me, like getting up at 4:55 is crazy. Like for the first 8 weeks, I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Now, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Now now I'm into it. So for me, it usually takes at least a season.
Okay, gotcha.
How long does it take you? I mean, what's your number?
Yeah, it's not binary, It's hard for me to establish the cutoff because I'd say the second day is easier than the first and the third's easier than the second and the fourth. It's so on and so forth. So I don't know where I would draw the line, but maybe 40-ish.
Yeah, it feels good. I'll hold you to that. 40-ish.
It's like, at this point, it feels harder to not do the thing that I started doing 40 days ago.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, so permission to dream, and let's talk about planning.
Yeah, so where people get stuck there is dreaming runs on optimism, planning runs on realism. So dreaming, anything's possible. This is going to be amazing. It's going to be huge. And then you have to transition kind of into the real world, into reality. And one of the simplest tools you can do is really just be honest about your calendar. I meet people all the time that'll go, I have these 30 different goals, or I have 10 different dreams. And I go, well, let's put a number associated with them. And then they put an hour time frame with them. And I'll go, well, how many hours of free time do you have in your week? And they go, free time? What are you talking? I'm very busy. I'm slammed right now. And you go, well, you have a 12-hour goal chunk and a week that has 0 hours. Like, that's why you're going to keep procrastinating. It's not because you're just delaying. It's because you don't have the time to pay that bill. Let's figure that out. So that's a big part of it for people with planning is, okay, how do you actually pay the price of the thing you want? And maybe you don't want the thing. Like, I would argue, if you won't spend half an hour with Claude or ChatGPT having it interview you about the thing, you probably don't really want the thing. And maybe you've just carried that goal along for a long time of, I think I need to write a book. Someday I want to start a business. I've always run to run a marathon. But if you won't even spend like half an hour kind of just investigating what would that take, maybe it's not a goal you care about, and that's fine. Like, I love getting rid of fake goals.
Tell us about this half-hour AI interview protocol. How's this go down?
Yeah, so for me, if I have something I want to do that's new that I don't know how to do, I often will say, okay, one, I love the whole tell me how to write the best prompt to get the thing I want. So then I'm not even really writing the prompt, but if I might say, okay, like an example for me is I'm doing something called Stage and Page, where it's a 1-day intensive for speakers and a 1-day intensive for writers. So I might say, hey, I've been doing this for 18 years. I want to be able to help people that have just started. Interview me about my first year of public speaking. Because I know these things, but it's been a while. You're the best journalist in the world. You write for a magazine called Stage and Page, and I want you to ask me 10 really insightful questions about my early experience as a speaker. And then it interviews me, and then it'll summarize that, or it'll create content out of that. But it's a really easy way versus just a blank piece of paper. So if I was going to run a marathon, start a business, figure out how to lose 10 pounds, I would say interview me so that I really have a sense of why I want to do it, what I want to do, what are my limitations. Oh, you've got a couple injuries. Let's figure that out. Like, the interview format is so much easier than just trying to willpower your way into a blank piece of paper.
I hear you. So you are engaging in that conversation to get the beginnings of some kind of plan going. And is it fair to say you don't expect the AI to spit out the perfect plan?
No.
But rather it gets you going so that the planning has begun and the ideas are multiplying?
Well, no, the problem with AI, the fatal flaw is I still have to do it. Like AI, I keep working with people and they'll like give me like, there's like this AI document arms race that happens in small businesses where I go, hey, I think we should try blank. And then somebody comes back with a 30-page document that they haven't even read. Like AI just created it. And now we're going back and forth on documents. So yeah, I don't expect AI to come up with the plan because it's never really been a lack of information. Like if you don't do the thing, you have a great library in your town. Every town has a great library. Like, so I still have to do it, but it gets me from stuck. The book is designed deliberately to move people through it quickly, meaning it's 71 short chapters. And I did that deliberately, and they're short and they're punchy and they're all connected. I did it deliberately because nobody wants to read a 1,000-page book about procrastination. If your procrastination book has 90 pages of notes, you're not a procrastinator. You're a monster. Like that's Jane Goodall writing about monkeys. I'm a monkey writing for other monkeys. So I just want the person to get started. And if they go, I have to figure out the perfect plan for this goal, they're never going to do it. But if they say, can I be interviewed for a half an hour, even a podcast, they could take you and go, I really like Pete's show. And here's an episode. I like his style of asking questions. Interview me about a book that I want to write as if you're Pete. And then like, that's the easiest, most casual way to go, oh, okay, now I'm feeling a little bit. It's not that intimidation of like, I got to figure this out.
And then, so that gets you started. How far do you go with the plan before you do?
Yeah, so for me, I like to do what I call audition a goal. I think a lot of goals fail because people try to commit to something for a year they've never done for a day. That's like marrying somebody you just met at speed dating. So if you told me, hey, I have this thing I've been putting off that I want to do, and it was sizable. I'm like, we're not talking about like, you got to clean out one closet. Like, we don't need to roadmap that. It's like one closet. We're not going to come, like, I don't want you to interview yourself. Like, you run California Closets and are asking me about how I store my socks. Like, but if you had a goal that was at least a month worth of time, I would say, hey, let's do a 1 month audition. Like, what if we just tried this thing for 15 minutes a day for 25 of the next 30 days? Because I don't want to trigger perfectionism. Like, but if we tried that and it was like, let's just see. And then at the end of the 30 days, you can double down and do half an hour. And at the end of that next 30 days, you can add more time. I would try to ease you into it. I wouldn't try to get you to plan an annual thing, like right out of the gate. Or here's from start to finish, here's how I'm going to write and publish and market my book. Like, no way. I'd try to get you to write for 15 minutes a day for 30 days in a row and see if you even like writing. And see if you even like this exercise at all. So yeah, that's the next thing I would do.
Audition a goal. So the goal is auditioning before you, the director, who will determine if it gets the role.
You've made it through. You now get to be part of my summer. Like, I gave you May, and congratulations, I just picked you up for the summer. You've now made it for the next summer. And not only have you made it, resources will be dedicated to you. I'm going to give you time and maybe even money. Like, oh, that's exciting. You've won the audition.
Do I need to have a director's chair and beret when I'm auditioning a goal?
I don't think a beret ever makes a situation worse. Like, I don't, maybe a funeral. Like, if you don't own a beret and then all of a sudden at your mom's funeral, you show up in a beret, a lot of questions.
These are the key insights, Jon, that we count on you for. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope people are taking notes right now. I hope they pulled over. Probably pulled over on that one. They're like, wait a second, we're going into berets now, Pete. And you probably didn't even put that in the description if I know you. It was just a surprise. Yeah.
No, not yet. And let's hit the permission to do now.
Yeah, so the first two are great, but if you don't actually do it, it ultimately doesn't matter. So the thing that I like about doing that I think people have a hard time with is maintaining motivation. We tend to think motivation will grow as we work on a goal, and that's just not how it works. Motivation is often the first thing to leave. So I spend a lot of time helping people make it through the middle, or what I call the montage. Like, we love a montage in a movie. We don't like being in one in our own life. Meaning, we love to watch Rocky IV, and there's an 8.5-minute scene where he trains against Drago. A prize fight training camp takes 8 to 12 weeks. So we saw 1% of the experience. But when we try to write a book, start a business, parent, teenagers, whatever this big goal is, there's a lot of middle. And so a lot of what I do is teach people how to build a motivation portfolio, meaning collect enough motivation so that when you're discouraged, which you're going to be, you have a long, robust list, not just one thing. If you only have one why, like that why won't show up most of the days. And you'll go, not even going to do the thing. But I'd much rather you have a whole list where you can go, oh, it took me till number 9. And here's a silly example, because you said, it seemed like you're familiar with F3. Like, one of my motivations for doing it is the night before I text 3 friends and say, I'll give you a ride tomorrow, because I've just put myself into a corner. And I know in the morning, I'm not going to text 3 guys and go, hey, turns out I'm a wimp, never mind. Like, I now have some accountability there. I now have that motivation to fulfill what I promised to those 3 guys. So that's what I try to help people when it comes to doing. I'm never, like, anybody who listens to this show or reads the kind of books I write, it's not a question of whether they'll do it. It's a question of whether they'll keep doing it. And that's where you really have to lean in.
So I like that. A motivational portfolio. We've got multiple sources of support pulling upon you. One was some accountability. People are expecting you to show up and give them a ride there. You said 9. Give us a quick rundown of maybe a bundle of things that might go in a portfolio.
A couple others? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, for me, like, I wrote this book, Soundtracks, and we ended up turning it into a soundtracks card deck. So it's 52 cards. So sometimes I'll have these in my pocket, and one will say, Hills Pay the Bills. And it's a reminder to me of, like, when I have to do the hard things, if I do them, and, if I climb the hills other people don't, I get to see vistas other people won't. And that could be something like a canceled flight in Chicago in January, where I had to spend the night, like, at the worst airport next to O'Hare. Nobody wants that. Nobody, but it's like, oh yeah, hills pay the bills. So sometimes it's a soundtrack. Sometimes it's a literal song where I know when I hear this type of music, I always feel this type of way. Sometimes it's a movie clip. Sometimes it is a friend that I go, this is my most uplifting friend. And anytime I'm stuck, if I call so-and-so, 30 seconds of conversation, I feel like I can conquer the world. Sometimes it's 10 minutes of walking around the neighborhood because I need some endorphin and some sunshine. Sometimes it's caffeine. Sometimes it's like, yeah, an espresso would really help at 2:00 when I'm struggling. So I think everyone should be a great note taker about themselves. I think you should be the best documentary filmmaker about your life, because then you figure out how you work best and then you can repeat that. And so that's what I mean by a motivation portfolio.
Oh, I like this a lot. We had Dr. Ethan Kross on the show, who wrote a book, Shift, about your mood. And so this is kind of reminding me of that, because he mentions music specifically as a tool. So when you say portfolio, you just have a big old list of options in terms of, this is a thing I could remember or do to take the action.
Well, because I know I'm not going to want to. Why pretend I'm always going to feel motivated to write a book? I'm not going to. Someday, the financial motivation will motivate me. I'll go, oh, it's how I pay the bills. It's how I put my kids through college. Great. Some days I won't care about that. Some days showing my kids an example of hard work will motivate me. Someday it won't. Like, some days will be like, they're not even really watching. Like, I can take it easy on this. Like, so yeah, collecting those. And that's, to me, part of that is just self-awareness. Like, if you have self-awareness, it's a lot easier to accomplish your goals, because then again, you figure out, this works, this doesn't work. I should repeat this thing that does work. I should stop doing this thing that doesn't work. A simple example, Pete, if my phone is in my bedroom, I stay up later. I don't need another test of that. I've checked that box. I know that. So a simple hack for me is I leave my phone downstairs when I go to bed. Like, imagine me going, man, I found a sleep hack. It's unbelievable. Here's how to, like, it's the simplest thing. I just realized over and over and over again, if I have my phone near me, I'm going to look at my phone and I'm going to stay up later than I really want to. So I found a workaround, which was leave the phone downstairs. Like, it's not complicated. That motivates me to go to bed earlier. Like, eureka.
John, I love that specific example. I was once, true story, in Vanderbilt's sleep laboratory, having all sorts of things attached to my body. And I said, so what are the top sleep tips? And she's like, oh, yeah. It's don't bring your phone in your bedroom, but no one wants to hear that, as she continues strapping electrodes to me. Simple as that. Okay, that was that.
Yeah. Jeez, that's so funny. Were you doing it for money or for to fix your own sleep? Like, was this a...
Well, we were curious if I had sleep apnea. Turns out I had mild sleep apnea. I've since overcome that. So that
Survivor.
I am. So that's really cool. The motivational portfolio, it's like layers upon layers upon layers of backup systems.
Yeah. I want it to be easy. I want, like, again, make tomorrow easy today. Like, because nobody's job is easy. Writing a book has a lot of identity and emotion around it, where, like, I'm right now in the marathon part of the book release, meaning I've already released the book. I sprinted to the finish line and now I'm in the marathon part and I need to talk about it constantly and I need to promote it. And every author loves writing a book. Most hates selling a book. But guess what? If you don't sell it, you don't get to write other books. And so now I'm like, okay, for me in the next 6 months, how do I motivate myself to do 500 different types of promotion around procrastination proof versus I hide from it. I hope Oprah discovers it in her dentist's office, whatever. And I was like, no, for me to do that thing will be difficult. How do I make it easy? How do I motivate myself to stay on top of this book?
Well, I think this is so good. If I may, could you give me 3 more things that can go in a portfolio to get motivation cooking?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, an item you want to buy can go in a portfolio. There's a woman I know that grew up in Indiana, kind of small town, and she always wanted to buy a Louis Vuitton purse. That was her thing. Like when I make it, when I become an executive, I'm like, that was her symbol, to the point that when she went to Paris, France with her husband, he tried to buy her one. And she said, no. She was like, I don't want you to buy this for me. I need to do this. This is something I've thought about. So sometimes it's okay. I want to buy this thing, or I want to be able to give this person this thing. That's a great one. Another one can be, by this date, I want to accomplish blank. Everybody has had the vacation moment where you get a lot of work done right before vacation because you're going, how do I make tomorrow easy today? I want to have a really peaceful vacation. So if I clear these things off my plate, I will. So you get a boost of energy. You could just say, where are some deadlines like that I want to say, before I go to this, I've done these 3 things. Before I go to this, I've done these 3 things. To me, that's another one. And then the third one I'd say is like this principle of do difficult things in beautiful places. Meaning, if there's something you're putting off, go do it somewhere beautiful. Don't try to crank on something in your office. If you're stuck, go to a coffee shop. Don't run somewhere ugly. Like make that part of the reward. Like, oh, I'm going to go to Pinkerton Park because I love that park, versus I'm just going to run around this treadmill. Like you're already doing a difficult thing. Why add more difficulty? Again, you just get creative and curious about yourself and you'll start to notice. Last one I'll give you. I bought a Timex watch. I don't mean to brag, but I'm obviously have achieved some success. I bought a Timex watch that has Snoopy on it jumping into a pile of leaves. So on the days when I feel tempted to write a boring, serious book devoid of humor, I can wear that watch and be like, that's charming. That's delightful. Like, look at Snoopy having so much fun. He's with Linus. They're jumping in the leaves. Very silly trigger for me. Wouldn't work for most people. No problem. One year, I wanted to write a book faster, so I bought carbon fiber Nike running shoes. Bright green, obnoxious. Most expensive shoes I'd ever owned from a running perspective. Wore them every time I wrote that book. Ridiculous? Totally ridiculous. But it was another one of those things. And the more you study high performers like you do, the more you find they're playing games like this all the time. They're playing little games behind the scenes to do the things that most people don't do.
So if I perceive that I have many lucrative opportunities and I just need to go to work, I should put a large pickaxe in my office because there's a gold mine that just needs me to go to work on it.
Yeah, or get rid of your chair and do a little cart, like one of those carts they carry the gold in. Maybe you just sit in that. Maybe you overalls, like Yosemite Sam or something. I don't know. They're just spitballing, Pete.
That's good. That's good. Well, I want to hear the 1-minute version of Permission to Review and then how procrastination is the most well-funded fear in human history.
Yeah, so the 1 minute is, I'll give you the soundtrack for it. Data kills denial, which prevents disaster. Data kills denial, which prevents disaster. All the review is telling you is what's really going on. And we hate a review, dude. We hate it. The first time I saw this, I was at a restaurant in New York. Everybody was going to get a crazy meal. They opened the menu and they had put the calories next to the menu and everybody's order changed. Everybody changed their order to sad grilled chicken salads with dressing on the side, not the side of the plate, the side of the restaurant. So all that to say, if you want to go the direction you really want to go, become friends with data, become friends with a review.
Okay, understood. Now this well-funded fear, what's the scoop?
Well, yeah. So Netflix doesn't fund perfectionism. Hulu doesn't fund inner critic, but every single one of those modern day services funds procrastination. In 2017, the CEO of Netflix said our number one competitor is sleep. They are actively funding procrastination, meaning they don't want you to go to sleep. They don't want you to get in shape. They don't want you to write your book. They don't want you to publish your podcast. They want to turn your time and attention into ad revenue. And I like those services. That's not a criticism of them. Just know the score. Like, it's easier now to procrastinate than it ever has before because you have a pocket casino. Like, that's a real thing. And in the same way that doctor at Vanderbilt told you, yeah, the trick to sleeping is to leave your phone in another room. If you said to me, what's the trick to writing a book? I'd go, well, why don't you open your screen time and take an hour back from your greediest, hungriest app and apply that to writing? Like, that's not, even the busiest people, if you ask them to open their screen time, will go, oh my gosh, I had no idea I spent 6 hours on Facebook last week. I would have guessed an hour. Like, that's what I mean by it's the most well-funded.
Okay, gotcha. Well, Jon, tell me anything else you want to make sure to mention before we hear about your favorite things?
Yeah, so we have a quiz. If you go to jonacuff.com/quiz, that'll show you where you might be tempted to get stuck and what to do about that. So it'll put you into one of the 4 categories. You're a dreamer, you're a perfectionist, you're a hustler, you're an analyst. So jonacuff.com/quiz would be a whole lot of fun.
Big thanks to Jon for sharing his wisdom with us. And big thanks to our sponsors. Check them out. One sponsor to check out is Monarch. I don't enjoy thinking about or fiddling with money, so I love resources that make this quicker and easier. Set yourself up for financial success this year. Monarch is a gorgeous personal finance tool that makes your money life easier. It brings your whole money picture from budgets to accounts and transactions and investments into one super handy dashboard on your phone or laptop. I was such a fan of the old Mint.com and was super bummed when it disappeared. But the good news is that Monarch was founded by a team that includes the original product manager of Mint, and I dare say it's even better. I like the graphical summaries that help me drill down into things quickly and easily and helps me get to the bottom of anything that just seems off or weird or helps me zero in on great opportunities for savings faster. In fact, Monarch helped the average user save over $200 per month after joining. So set yourself up for financial success in 2026 with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use code AWESOME at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code AWESOME. One sponsor to check out is Scribe. When your team is trying to become more awesome at their job, unclear processes can create enormous friction. We all want to do great work, but poor documentation, lacking knowledge transfer, and mixed messages mean teams are totally in the dark on how things actually get done. Scribe is a workflow AI platform that captures any workflow in real time and turns it into step-by-step documentation automatically. That's right, you don't have to do anything. No manual writing, no screen sharing videos, nothing. So cool. Scribe is trusted by over 80,000 enterprises, including nearly half of the Fortune 500. I've spent literally hours pulling together checklists and screen shares to communicate processes, but with Scribe, I just turn on the extension and it captures every click, step, and screenshot automatically to build a complete guide as I go. It also automatically redacts sensitive information, provides real-time step-by-step guidance inside the actual tool, and even suggests ways to improve the workflow itself. Building an awesome team starts with making sure everyone knows how to do the work, and Scribe makes that effortless. Book a personalized enterprise demo by visiting scribe.how/awesome. That's scribe.how/awesome. One sponsor to check out is Narwhal. I am so impressed with the Narwhal Flow 2 vacuum and mopping robot. I have tried 3 other robots in the past, and this is far and away my favorite. It just gets the job done without me having to babysit it. It's quieter, smarter, prettier, easier, and higher performing than any other floor cleaning robot I've used. Their Flow Wash mopping system has 16 nozzles spraying fresh water continuously. They've also got a wastewater extraction and storage system to prevent residue and odors. It adapts to wet and dry messes with their Narmind Pro autonomous system. It gets back to its all-in-one base station without any trouble or requiring any help or intervention from me. It never just stops working in the middle of the floor or gets all tangled up in a cord. It's everything I've always wanted from a cleaning robot, but have not had until now with Narwhal. So if you want to treat your home to spotless, fresh floors, visit us.narwhal.com/Pete. That's us.narwhal.com/Pete. All right. Now, can you share a favorite quote? Something you find inspiring?
I love Jim Rohn's quote, "Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish you had less problems, wish you had more skills." That's in my motivation portfolio. Like when I go like, oh, like it's so hard. Like, no, I wish I had more skills to deal with this challenge. What's like, am I being invited into a skill? That's one of my favorite quotes.
And a favorite study or experiment or bit of research?
Daniel Kahneman wrote about it in Thinking Fast and Slow, where they had college kids make sentences out of words. And one group of college kids had words related to being old in their collection. Slow, retired, bald, Florida, etc. And when they tested how fast they walked later, the students who had read the words about being old physically acted old. They unknowingly acted like old people just from reading their words. It's my favorite study because it speaks to the power of your mindset.
All right. And a favorite book?
I always say War of Art. Stephen Pressfield, that book for me really kicked off my own writing journey.
And a favorite nugget, something that Jon Acuff shares that gets quoted and tweeted a lot?
Oh, yeah. I often say starting is fun, but the future belongs to finishers. So starting is fun, but the future belongs to finishers is one of the things. And then the other one that gets tweeted a lot is be brave enough to be bad at something new.
And if folks want to learn more or get in touch, where would you point them?
JonAcuff.com is my site. I have a podcast called All It Takes Is a Goal. And I'm big on LinkedIn now. If you listen to the whole episode and just didn't skip to this, I'm big on LinkedIn. Hit me up.
All right. And a final challenge or call to action for folks looking to be awesome at their jobs?
Yeah. So I would find somebody 10 years ahead of you and 10 years behind. The 10 years ahead, we know it's a mentor, it's a time machine, somebody who's been to the future you want to get to and will tell you how to do it. The person 10 years to 20 years behind, they grew up in the new way and can teach you the new way very quickly. I grew up in the old way. I'm 50. For me to do the new way, I have to unlearn the old way first. When I connect with a 27-year-old and they show me something about AI, like it speeds me up. So I would just encourage you, know somebody 10 years ahead of you, somebody 10 years behind you.
All right. Jon, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I love what Jon had to say about building a motivation portfolio and his thoughts on that card deck soundtracks that he's got. I actually, in fact, purchased from Amazon some blank playing cards and have been writing tools of motivation upon them with a Sharpie. And it's just really kind of handy. You say, oh, I actually indeed have a portfolio, many options to bring about motivation, whether that's some music or some prayer or some laughter or some exercise or some caffeine or some learning, just to get in a quick state shift groove to rock and roll. It's been kind of fun. And it sort of feels like I'm taking control, like I'm literally playing a card. I'm placing it down and hearing it, that little card flopping. And it's a game as well, like a card game. Great stuff from Jon. If you want to check out the show notes or the transcript or the links to items that we've referenced, please drop on by awesomeatyourjob.com/EP1155. Hope to catch you next time, and peace.